Good morning. My name is Matt Solomon, co-founder of Channel Program. With me, we've got Cam, president of IT by Design, and today we're going to be talking about Build It Live 2023, which I think is the fourth year because I think I've been there 3 years. But Cam, you can correct me.
It's
Fifth year, fifth year.
here. You forget the year that we all went remote.
Oh yeah,
It is the fourth year in person, yes.
got it. So welcome to the show. We're here to kind of just talk about Build It Live, what it is, and you know give people, there's a lot of MSPs that may have never heard of it, and
Yeah,
just want to help show them how how this is different because it is a very different show. And yeah, I'd love to give you the stage to kind of give an overview, and we'll dive into some of the individual things about the event.
wonderful. So I like to always call Build It Live as the entrepreneurs conference. It is really structured for the owner or the senior level executives. And so it's the conference where you actually have to go and learn, and
Yep.
it's an investment back in yourself. People always ask us, how did ITBD grow? And it's because we spent the time and effort to go and learn from other people, not just in the industry, but out in, there are better sales leaders out, like Jack Daly, who's not in the MSP channel, or the Collaborative Way, or John Maxwell Company, right? Where they teach you leadership. And so one thing that we learned and really helped us scale was the value of learning from others. And so when we decided to put together our conference, we wanted to have that understanding that our growth is also very important for our organizations to grow. And in order for us to grow, we need to make sure that we go find the right people that have the skill set, the mindset, know the challenges that we're facing, and can provide us with solutions to those challenges. So it's not just another conference where you come and you hear all these great ideas, but you come back and you're firefighting again. I like to call us firefighters, right? Because nobody ever calls us when they're happy, or to shoot the breeze. They're always calling us when there's a problem. And so the biggest challenge about going to conferences is that when you get back, yeah, I may have attended a great session, but how do I implement what that person actually said in that session?
Yeah.
Do I have a template, a tool, a framework, or something that maybe I can give to my next layer leader to implement? And so Build It Live actually provides you with those templates and those tools. So we don't just talk the talk, we walk the walk. And it's a lot of work to put together. It's not just a matter of handing out a session and saying, Matt, you're coming. You have to give me a template or a tool, and it gets vetted. And there's this entire environmental scan that happens, and we pick the topics. And so we do believe in education. It is hardcore. There is a lot of valuable content that we bring to the channel, and I think and who else brings you trainings? Like, we're
Yeah.
actually doing full day training programs with two of the largest organizations in the entire world for executive coaches. And so it is 4 days full of growth for your executive leadership.
Yeah. There's two things I want to hit on. I definitely want to come back to the vendor workshop, but yeah, I think and I'm passionate about this too, like hearing from voices
Yeah.
outside of our industry, because you know this, and I assume most MSPs know this, because you hear from the same people over and over again, and that sometimes could include myself.
Yeah.
Like, you go to different conferences, you just hear from the same people over and over again, and I think it's so important to get that outside perspective because to your point, I mean, sales are sales, whether you're in the MSP space or in
Yeah.
some other industry. So I think that's something that you guys have really honed in on, and I can speak from the vendor perspective on the workshop. So it forces the vendors into an uncomfortable place because we're used to, we have our standard, like we have our 10-minute presentation, we've got our 20-minute or whatever, and the workshops do require work, and so it does make every vendor like bring their A game because they're doing something that they're generally not used to doing at an event. But it requires them to really think outside of the box. And to your point, I think, which is, there's just not that many events out there that do this. When you sit in a session, you're not just listening. You could be working through an actual workshop,
Yeah.
and you've got these incredible books that you guys print.
Oh yeah. We've
Like,
got these workbooks that we put together. So every year we put together a workbook. And the value of the workbook is that, so I used to teach, And when you look through the workbook, so when you come to the event, the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to get the workbook, and every single template is already in here. So you
Yep.
can see which ones are most important to you and which sessions you want to attend. We're giving you some insight. Wouldn't you love it if we went to an event and I knew what the speaker was going to talk about in advance so I could tell if it's valuable for me or not? And should I attend that session? So that's what we're doing. And then when you go to the session, you can write your notes right on the template.
Yep.
So at the end of the event, we give you editable copies of these templates. You log into our online university, you download all these templates, all the videos of the workshops will be there again. So it's allowing you to write your notes. Oh, I liked this point. Ask questions during the workshops of why do you build your structure in this way? So for example, if I'm doing a competency framework, why is it important to have a competency framework? Well, why do we put these outlines and what is the purpose behind them? You can ask those questions in the workshops and in the breakout sessions, and they'll give you the answers. And so you can write the answers in your booklet. You can go back to your next level leaders and say, hey, look, I really like this template. I want us to talk about it. Here's the link to the video that you can go about it. Here's my notes of what we need to change and the why behind what we need to change. And let's talk about how we can make this improve our systems.
Yep.
That's the value. And you know, these poor vendors, there's no sales pitches in these sessions. We do this huge environmental scan that has so much data behind what is important today that we need to be talking about. And it really is the give back event, I think, that where your vendors, the people that come here, they understand the value of giving. And I give huge props to all of the vendors that come to this event. I mean, it's not just vendors, there's also educational thought leaders from the channel that we bring in, that know these topics, you know, and even from outside the channel. But the vendors really do, to your point, Matt, have to go outside of their comfort zone to really build out these sessions. And some of the most popular sessions we've had is, I remember one year Rob Ray did Story Brand with Mike DePalma, and that was a huge hit, right? I remember Danny Jenkins gave away SOC 2 templates,
Yep.
right? And there's always these huge opportunities for these templates that it's hard to build those. And there's thousands of dollars of, you know, of advice that's being given away to you for free. I remember I was able to get Paul Dipple to give us a free template. Paul Dipple doesn't give anything for free. And so it was lovely the way that the community comes together to give back.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, I love the ability to write the notes in the booklet, the book, because you can bring that home. It's very easy to like go back and figure out like, all right, these are the, you know, you can earmark it and just be like, all right, these are the areas I want to focus on when I get back.
Yeah.
I love that. So the big change this year though is the location, right?
Yes.
So you've been in Newark, no, is it?
Jersey City.
Jersey City, Jersey City. So Jersey City the last couple of years, Orlando, Florida this year. I guess why the change, and you know, anything unique about the location? I know there's you got some pretty special things going on.
Yeah, so we needed a bigger venue. So, you know, we love Jersey, and New York is a little bit of a challenge when it comes to logistics.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who's ever flown into LaGuardia or JFK knows that it's you know, it's not easy to get back into the hotel. And honestly, sometimes, you know, New York City's got a lot of flash, and it can be a little bit of a distraction. And so we wanted to take everybody where we love our venue. You know, it's the Waldorf Astoria. It brings a lot of nostalgia to us, right? It reminds us of the old ConnectWise days and in that venue. But it also allows us to bring more classes to you. It brings everybody together a little bit more. It gives us the ability to also bring in great training programs like the Disney Institute. So we're big on value addition. And so we have a full day program on Disney, where we have the Disney Institute, and you know, it is part of Disney, coming in to teach us about leadership, customer experience, and employee experience. And who better to do that than Disney? And so we needed to make sure we were logistically close enough to execute on that. And so it was Florida, here we come, you know? And hopefully, fingers crossed, we have some great weather.
No, definitely. And I did put up the dates now. So September 18th through 20th, they can
Yeah.
still get tickets. I've got the website scrolling below.
Yeah.
Is
Disney
there, is it,
Institute is on the 17th, though, Matt. Just to be
oh,
clear,
okay.
it is a pre-day. So the event itself is the 18th through the 20th. The
Mhm.
pre-day is going to be on the 17th. So if you want access to Disney Institute, it is a day earlier. So you got to fly in on the 16th because we start early. Like I said, this is school. And so it's not, you just got to make sure that you get the pre-day in there. If you want to be a part of the Disney Institute training. Now the trainings themselves are worth a significant amount of money. Like people will come regularly down to Disney, attend these sessions. And so we've actually incorporated it as part of our conference because we felt there was so much value that our attendees could learn and how to improve their organizations.
Excellent. And I know you guys do specialize in bringing in, guest speakers. Any particular ones you want to highlight that are coming in for
So
this?
strategic coach is
Okay.
a huge one for us. So the strategic coach is Sunny's coaching group. And Gino Wickman and Chris Voss and all of these huge CEOs across the country follow strategic coach. They're probably this quiet coaching platform that many don't know about, but it's Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and unique. What are your unique abilities? Um, Bringing them in. So this year we decided to do something different rather than bring in a huge keynote and give
Yep.
you an hour talk on something and just leave you. We decided to bring in training programs that will actually add value to you.
Yep.
And so Disney and Strategic Coach both bring to you all their certain tools, not all of them, but the certain tools that we feel will add value back into your organizations. So understanding, the frameworks, and we use a lot of these frameworks internally at IT by Design now. And so we saw so much value in understanding, well, the who, not how framework, how to create impact filters, understanding everybody's unique abilities, and then making sure that the work that they're doing is based on that unique ability. We're about 600 people today, Matt. It's,
Mhm.
our growth and the way that we've grown our organization and the community and still kept a strong culture. It is a result of the way that we have grown by learning from others. And so
Yep.
we really felt Strategic Coach was going to be a huge impact. And so we wanted to bring them into all of you as well. So they're going to be there at the end of the event on your last day. And then we also have all of our channel leaders. We have Arnie Bellini coming.
I saw that.
Arnie's coming back at Old Stomping Grounds because, we want to talk about life after exit. We're doing something different this year. It's called M&A Alley. And it's not that we're asking people to sell to platforms or PE companies or whatever. What we want people to do is be informed decision makers. What is that next step in your life, right? Who, what, where, when, why, how are you going to make that next transition,
Yep.
right? Because we all need to be able to make transitions, and having a vision of where we're going and how we're going to get there is really important. And so we brought some of the largest platforms out there to the event, the right people for you to have conversations. And then we have some wonderful industry speakers coming as well that are all, again, adding value to you,
Yep.
giving you a template, a tool, a process. And so with M&A Alley, we have, you've invested most of your life into your MSP. Well, what are those next steps? I want you to know the good, bad, and ugly behind it. And I want you to at least have a vision. No more Thelma and Louise, right? We can't just drive off that cliff. We need to know, well, if we spent 20 years of blood, sweat, and tears into IT by Design, what is that next step for us? And having at least clarity about, well, do I want to be a platform? Does it make sense for us? Is that a lot of headache and stress that I really don't want after these years? How much investment do I have to make into it again?
Yep.
Or do I want to just exit? Or do I want more money and just want to think about how do I grow from within? It's just making those conscious decisions. And then obviously, we have tons of content on strategy, leadership, service, sales and marketing, HR. We're introducing Sunny's new book. It's all
Yep.
about talent. And how did, he's come up with this lovely idea. It's called talentpreneurship. how entrepreneurs need to become talentpreneurs. And what are the strategies that IT by Design has built? We've built an entire talent operating system. Everybody uses EOS, but do you have a system to develop your talent? Because we are in a service industry and talent is our business. And so understanding the ways that IT by Design has grown our talent system internally to get us to 600 people with the retention numbers that we have. How did we do that? What were those steps, and what are the tools that we're sharing with you? So that is also going to be a huge part of this event. So there's a lot of action happening at Build It Live this year. I'm probably going to be exhausted by the end of it. And finally, we're also having a peptide party. So I don't know. Sunny's very big on health, and he has this grand plan. Part of Dan Sullivan's group is also, they have this entire health group about how do you extend your life, and it's called Life Extenders. And it's these huge CEOs from different organizations about how do they really think more functionally about their health and medicine. And Sunny likes to say, how do you get rid of the tech belly? And a lot of these CEOs are all coming and they're all thinking about health and wellness, because our companies do take a toll on us. And
Yep.
so how do we make sure that we're also thinking about ourselves from a healthy living perspective? And so peptides are these natural things that we're going to be talking about. We have Regan who's coming, who's going to be talking about your health and wellness as well. And what are the things that us CEOs can do to find that balance for our health? And that is a huge investment as well. So we're bringing we're not just looking at your organization, we're looking at your leadership, we're looking at your health, we're looking at you building that next layer of talent. So when I say this is the Entrepreneurs Conference, I'm really saying that this is a conference we've built literally for someone like Sunny and myself. Like, this is where we would want to go and bring so much value back to our organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there is fun sprinkled in throughout the event. And so you guys have set the bar pretty high in terms of off-site experiences. We did, I know, the Statue of Liberty. You did, I think it's MetLife Stadium out there.
Yeah, we had Eli Manning at MetLife. And so this year we're taking everybody to the NASA.
Yeah.
And so we're doing Kennedy Space Center this year. So if you're going to do experiences, you might as well do them big.
Yep.
Right. I want people to understand it, because our conference really does take people to a whole new place. And once you attend, you never go back. You always know the value that this conference brings to your organization. And so NASA is literally, it's one of the greatest things that our country has ever done. And so being able to go to Kennedy Space Center, and now with all of the other companies that are there, from Blue X to all of them, there's something new going up into space every other day, and there's launches all the time. And so we're really excited about going to NASA, and we think everybody else will too. So it's going to be an amazing offsite, a lot of content. We love to feed people. There's always going to be snacks and food and having fun. But at the same time, I think one thing that we've really done well is we've created a culture of sharing. And I think that's one of the biggest values we've added, is that this concept of sharing is caring and paying it forward. So people aren't, when you ask someone a question, they'll be more than ready to help you. Yep. And I think that's a mindset that you have to build within an event and an organization. We're not 2,000 people. That's not our intent. We're 500 people, and we're very focused on what we want to do. And it's definitely very purpose driven. So fun, but also a lot of purpose and vision and goals, and how are you going to grow, and setting yourself up for the following year, because everybody should be in their strategy planning now. They should be thinking about what they're going to be doing for 2024 in September. And so we're trying to get you the right tools to help you think about those decisions.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are both so passionate about what you do, and I think it comes across in all the amount of detail that you guys pay attention to for this conference. As I've worked with you before on it, it's really unbelievable. I don't think anybody spends that amount of time on the details to make sure that the MSPs are getting like the full experience. So you guys really do spare no expense is not the right word, but just spare no detail really of the event. And last question: is your son going to be in attendance?
He wants to come. Sean so wants to come, and he's gonna be like, Mom, see, they want me in the room. So it's funny. Sean is 13 going on 40, and he loved last year. He was like, it was so funny how he picked up so much last year. He was walking around the event calling Rob Ray our Lord and Savior.
Yeah.
And it was so hilarious. Even now, he loves going to IT Nation. He wants to go.
Yeah.
I kid you not, Matt. So we have an office in India, and this year we took him with us to do our partner retreat in April. And people don't really assume a lot about a 13-year-old. And
Right.
so he's walking around the office, and there's probably about 200 people in the office. And so I'm working, Sunny's working. He found my office. He went, sat down, and these are night shifts. And so we start at 5 and we don't finish until 2:30 a.m. And so he came, we got in the car, the driver's driving us back to the hotel, and he's like, Mom, Dad, I need you to read this list of 30 points of how you're going to improve IT by design. And we were like, oh, okay. And first thing, he's like, why do you have backgammon in the game room for the staff? It's an hour and a half game at minimum, and everybody only has an hour for their lunch. So why are you giving them an hour and a half game in there? And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And he's like, in HR, one of the girls was chit-chatting about her boyfriend for 4 hours with the other girl. And then not only did those two weren't working, but they were disruptive to the entire rest of the team. How is that impacting you? He's like, I sat on the chat session, Mom. I went to the website, hit the chat. Nobody answered me. I sat there for 7 minutes. How is this possible? And I was like, are you 13? And it was so funny that he truly has aspirations of one day leading IT by design. Sunny asks these wonderful questions at dinner tables. And he's like, if we could grant you one wish, what would it be? He literally goes, I want to be CEO of IT by design. And he's so passionate about it. He has his own LinkedIn. I bet you he's following you, Matt. He's probably even online watching right now. So maybe don't encourage him. School, he has a full week of school this week. But he definitely is the one child that is like, I want to be there.
Yeah. And just a story I remember from last year is like he would just when it was time for the MSPs to exit the vendor hall, he was making sure that they were exiting the vendor hall. He was like practically escorting them out. So
funny.
Yeah. So again, we have the registration below. There still is time to get in for the Disney Institute, which is the pre-day. As always, great catching up with you, and looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Yeah,
we're gonna have some fun. We got a special area for your podcasts too, so we look forward to seeing all your lives. But definitely, if you haven't registered yet, I'd strongly recommend that you do so. It's the best investment that you could give back to your team. It's the one conference where you're going to bring back a lot of learnings and a lot of actionable things that will impact your organization, your leadership, and your team's ability to grow. And I think we don't give that enough value that we should. And you'll have some fun. I promise.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, Kam, and hopefully we see you MSPs at the event.
We'd love to see y'all.
Thanks, everyone.